Welcome, everyone, to episode 91 of the Looks Like a Movie podcast. My name is Kevin. I'm here with Doug and Owen, and today we're talking about Heretic. But first, as always, we can talk about
Heretic.
what we watched this past week. Does anybody want to go first? I'll open it up to the class since Doug gets mad every time I
I don't get mad.
thrust
I
it upon
literally,
him.
I
I can go first. I can go
literally
first.
never get
Okay.
mad.
I'll go.
Okay. Not mad, maybe surprised.
All
Yeah,
right.
no, I wouldn't. You go. Don't worry. You don't have to ask twice.
So I watched after. So I talked about here last week, and so I wanted to watch another Zemeckis film, and there's like uh they put there's Beatle references in here, so I went to watch Zemeckis's debut, which is I Want to Hold Your Hand, which is a film about girls who are just, like really obsessed with the Beatles. And I was talking to Kevin
Right.
about this, I think, and I think it's an interesting way to do a movie about like really popular musicians without like doing like a biopic or and like it's a very interesting kind of movie that you don't like get movies like this in terms of like just you know what I'm saying
Right.
and they use um like people who like can do their voices, and then they use archive footage in a really interesting way. So like you'll have stand-ins like really far away, like you can't like they're blurry, and then they have the televisions with the archive footage like really close, so like kind of image manipulation to make it feel like the actual Beatles are there without like it's
Right.
kind of like the way they did it in not as like crazy, but like we talked about like Air, and not showing Michael Jordan's face and kind of but
Right.
using it in a way like where he's not like he's still in the movie, but it's less about him himself and like
Yeah.
everything else. So yeah, really
Oh.
debut.
Oh, I
Uh,
get it because it's named after the Beatles song.
yes, it's
Yes. Yes.
Right.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
It just
Uh,
clicked, yeah.
but
Okay.
stars Nancy Allen, who goes on to do a bunch of De Palma movies and stuff like that. So really, really fun movie from like that kind of young era of Hollywood in the '70s. And then I watched Hereafter, kind of continuing that theme of like, with Zemeckis, watching another Zemeckis, and then with
Yeah,
the Juror Number Two
not a
with Clint
Beatles song.
Eastwood. No, no, not a Beatles song, but a great movie. Clint Eastwood's Hereafter with Matt Damon, who a lot of people call this like Eastwood's M Night film, and I think like it could easily like you could just put Matt Damon's character in the world of Split and Unbreakable and Glass. He has like these kind of superpowers where he's like a psychic, and he like can touch people and like talk to the dead,
Hmm?
but it's like very like kind of mystical, but it never really is explained, or does it is it important like how he really can do this. It's kind of like he talks about it a little, but it's kind of how his psychic powers kind of are ruining his life because everybody
Right.
wants to just like kind of use him for this, and he wants to just like kind of live his life and not really focus on the dead. And it's kind of him coping with like how can he live with these powers, and like I don't know, it's a very interesting movie that when you talk about like M Night comparisons, it's a lot darker than something M Night would make in terms of just like the death and like the stuff that goes on in the movie. But it is really sweet as well, and I mean I love Damon, so that was great. Bryce Dallas Howard shows up for a little bit. She's fantastic. But yeah, really good movie. I need to just continue to watch more Eastwood. And then I watched 24 Frames, um, which I really liked that one as well. Just kind of doing more research for my project. I think that one's really good. And then I watched I watched a Modern Musketeer with Hardy last night, an Alan Dwan film. One of our friends I watched that with. That was really great as well. I Douglas Fairbanks is like ridiculous. He's like climbing up like towers, and like the way he jumps is like it looks like an animated film. He like jumps from like wall to wall like he's like Spider-Man, but it's like 1917 and he's just doing it. It's like ridiculous stuff. Really incredible like stunt performances. Um, so that was really
No
cool.
relation to Douglas Holler, right?
No, I don't think they can
Not
jump
how
the
that
same.
works.
But that was really great. It's on YouTube if you guys anyone is interested in silent films. I think that one's a really great one to check out. Really fun movie. And then yeah, I watched Heretic last night. That's kind of my week. Did a lot of
Nice.
filming this week, so not done too many films. And also like I don't know, there was something that happened this week that kind of killed the vibe a little for movie watching for like a
Oh,
day or
really?
two.
Because if anything, it kind of impacted what I
Really?
watched
You
this
were like,
week.
you like, I
Yeah.
gotta watch these movies now. I was like, no, I was like, I can't focus on movies right now, so I kind of like just didn't watch a
Well, I
movie.
shouldn't say that. I'll explain when I get to it. I watched movies to preempt
You
it,
watched
but
Hillbilly Elegy?
yeah, finally. It's been on the watch list. I was
You're
like,
like,
"Oh, this is
let's go,
probably
let's go.
a good time."
Time to pop
No.
it in.
Well, so last week when we recorded, I think I saw Juror number 2 after, like, the night after of our recording, so I know Owen talked about Juror number 2 last week, but
Yeah,
it was
no, I don't
before
think
I
you
got to
saw it.
see it,
Mhm.
and I did see it, and again, I feel like we're gonna talk about it at some point somewhere on the podcast, but it's
I
one of the
hope
best
so.
movies of the year, is what I'll
I
say
hope
about
so.
that one. I
Yeah,
really
we would
liked
talk. We
it.
would literally. It would be a Juror number two podcast if it was playing in Nebraska.
Yeah, that's okay. So, but to be fair, and again, like I said last week, the real roadblock here is that even if Doug was able to see it, it's just like hard to put out an episode on a movie that half of our
Yeah,
audience
I
is
mean,
not able to go see. And that's a shame, but I'm sure it will either be like streaming or on VOD or something like sometime sooner
well, I
rather than
know
later.
the Blu-ray is scheduled to release next year, so it will be
Okay.
released
Yeah, it will
sometime
be available at some point. No, I feel like
eventually.
I thought
Eventually,
I saw them say that they were gonna put it on, like, Max or
it'll
something
be on
sometime
Max
soon,
soon. I assume so.
but yeah, whenever that happens, or even before that happens, we'll probably talk about it in at least a little bit more detail at some point, but yeah, I really liked that one. Bit surprisingly, I guess, because 'cause I'm not like I don't know. I still have to watch more Clint Eastwood movies to find out where I fall on the spectrum, but that was like that it was just everything I want in a movie, and specifically that kind of movie, like a courtroom drama. Very much my vibe. And then the movie I was referring to before was that the night before the election, I watched All the President's Men.
Yeah,
Um, and that's also a really good movie and kind of was like perfect to watch after Juror number 2 because another one of those like really good like talky
yeah.
screenplay movies and it's just such a smart script and it's so entertaining uh and then it was followed up by by stuff that might have tainted the movie a little bit but you know um shit happens. And then I watched The Banshees of Inisherin, or should I say rewatched The Banshees of Inisherin for like the third or fourth time now. One of my favorite movies of the year it came out. And every time I like go back to rewatch it, I'm like, oh, maybe I'll like this a little bit less. And then I watch it and I'm just like, man, this is really, it's such a good watch every time. Another movie that I really value for its screenplay, I guess, among other things. But um, I was just kind of on like a writing movie kick here because then I rewatched In a Lonely Place, which is also one of my favorite movies, also because it's written very well. And then I saw Heretic, and yesterday I watched Last Summer, released from earlier this year, that we didn't talk about on the podcast because I don't even really know if it played in theaters or more than like five theaters. But it's quite great, and I would definitely recommend people check that one out. It is like very easily available now, and that's up there for the year's best. And then I rewatched Dodgeball, a true underdog story. I'm quite enjoying. I want to do this more, even though it's like against my best interests. But there's something nice about revisiting some of these like 2000 studio comedies that I grew up watching and thought were like the funniest movies ever at the time, just to find out now that like 80% of the jokes are just really fucking bad. But like there's also something about the highs of those movies that I don't really see in comedies that often anymore. Like even rewatching Dodgeball, I'm like, man, some of these jokes are so offensive. And then
Yeah.
some of them, I'm just like, movies aren't this funny anymore.
It's
Like it's like nothing.
extremely of
Yeah.
its time of 2004.
No,
It's
yeah,
like
like super. I mean, there's
violently
like
24
yeah,
2004.
there's a lot of stuff in there where I'm like, this is just fucking like it's like you almost want to laugh because of how badly it's aged.
Yeah.
But then like I said, then there's just like jokes where it's like, man, like this just doesn't happen anymore. Like it's like this is so funny. And I feel that way kind of about a lot of those like movies. Like I think I mentioned it on the podcast, but like last week I rewatched Horrible Bosses, which is like a little bit more newer, like 2010s, but even that is like, some of the humor is probably not aged the best, but then some of the jokes it's like, man, this is so fucking funny still. Like, and a lot of it has to do with the actors who are in these movies, but yeah, that
Yeah.
was my week. Douglas, what did you watch?
I watched Diary of a Wimpy Kid from 2010, directed by uh let's get his last name right. Thor Freudenthal. My biggest takeaway from this, well, I have a couple of big takeaways from this, right? Experience. There's no way this shit played in movie theaters. There's no
Oh, it
way.
did.
I know it did, but it's
Worldwide.
it looks like the Fred movie. Like it looks like those
Yeah, those
like
movies used to
made for
play in
TV
theaters.
movies. I don't know.
Like
It looks
this
so
is
bad.
like
The
it's
whole
like a
movie it was like
movie
a piss
of
yellow.
yeah, but
Uh
it's like of
What are
that
they in
era where they
Mexico?
were it's of that
That
era where
Wimpy
they were
Kid goes to Mexico.
adapting like the kids books
Did
left
you?
and
Is it the
right.
first one you watched
yeah, the first one.
with like the
Mm.
cheese
Uh
touch?
So that's
yeah,
not
the
Roderick
cheese touch.
Rules. Is Roderick
It's
Rules
not
the next one?
Roderick Rules. That is the next one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They made
I know that's a
4
highlight for
movies.
many people. Yeah.
4 movies. Is that including like the remake one?
They made 5 movies.
Okay. Well, because they made like a one where they had to like recast everybody because the kids got too old, and then
Yeah.
people like
Um,
hated on that
yeah, I mean, I don't know what the
because they
plan really was there,
recast
because
the
in the
kids.
books, he just like in the books,
He's
he's
just
just kind of the same
infinitely the
age the
same
whole
age.
time because you draw him,
Yeah,
but
that's
that
why
can't
like it
possibly
makes
work
sense. It
in
makes
movie
sense if they
form.
like yeah, it was like an animated like film thing,
Yeah,
because it could have been like an actor that could just stay the same,
the
or
voice actor,
like
yeah.
a voice actor, like an older person who could do like a young voice.
Yeah,
Um,
like a Jay
it could
Baruchel.
have been like you could do like live, like they're like stick figure like out of the page, but they're in like real life. So it's like
Oh, that would be
so they're just
cute
like little like stick figure guys just like in real
in the world,
school. It'd
yeah.
be jolly, and like he's the only guy who's like a fake. He's just like a fucking
But
crook.
then wouldn't they have to recast everybody else
True. So you have to make
later on?
everyone.
Yeah, you have to make everybody
Yeah,
stick figures, I think.
it's a mess, dude. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know,
I'll,
but creatively, it's a cooler
let's see
idea than what they
Zemeckis'
went for.
Diary of a
Is that
Kid.
the only movie you watched, Doug? Just Diary of a
Greg
Wimpy Kid?
Heffley is also a fascist. Is one of my takeaways.
Great
Yeah,
man.
I'm gonna be honest. It's been a while for me. I don't really know what you're referring to. It's been
Just
a
like
minute.
Can
It's
you
just
just like
elaborate on that?
yeah.
in
I mean,
general, like it's like his worldview is so
I
narrow,
read
and
those
he's
books so long ago.
so cartoonishly selfish. Um,
Yeah,
it's like everything in the world has to benefit him in some way, and he's like completely ambivalent to any consequences or anything bad that could possibly happen. He's just a
and that
terrible
first book
guy.
came out in 2007. I remember when these books were coming out, man. I love Dog Days, the fourth one. That one was great.
Classic literature.
Yeah. No, I mean, I was reading. I don't know when I stopped. Do you guys know when you stopped, or were you not reading these books?
I don't
I stopped
know.
super
Dog
young.
Day.
Um,
Wait.
Did anybody also, for people in the comments, did anybody read Big Nate as well? It was kind of like a
oh
Diary of a
yeah.
Wimpy Kid's like ripoff. It was
Hey, not
Yeah,
a
I
shout
think
ripoff,
out
so.
buddy.
Big Nate. Yeah, I think I stopped reading The Ugly Truth. I remember coming out in 2010. I think yeah, I think I read those first five, and then somewhere in like this 6 to 7. Man, there's so many of these. Did they
Yeah,
just release one every
I think
year?
I
Which one is
probably I
Cabin Fever?
see Cabin
That's
Fever. I
the
don't think I
sixth
read.
one.
I
Yeah,
don't
I
think
don't
I
think I
read
read
that one.
Cabin Fever, but I'm looking at it. They are wow, I didn't know this. So they just release a Diary of a Wimpy Kid book every single
Whoa!
year.
There's so many.
Yeah, they've done one every year without fail.
I didn't
They're
click. I couldn't click the view more section.
except it
Yes,
says
like
there's no
I never got
2024
to
one.
like.
Is this going to be the first year where they don't make a Diary of a Wimpy Kid book?
I read the first 6, I think.
Yeah, I think I
There's
read the
no way
first
I got to
5.
like third wheel.
Yeah, no.
There's no
I mean,
way.
there's
No, I
I've
don't
never even
recognize.
seen half of
Yeah.
these. Yeah.
Well, I think
Uh,
the ugly truth is probably where I got
Yeah,
to.
The Ugly Truth I remember
But
owning.
I
I
don't think
probably
I
still have
read
it
the
on the
last
bookshelf
straw.
somewhere.
I probably read like one, two.
Really? I read The
4,
Last
5.
Straw.
The
No, I
Last Straw doesn't
remember.
look recognizable.
No, I
Did you
remember the
have? There was
covers.
like a do your own Diary of a
Oh,
Wimpy
I
Kid
have
book.
it. I have it. I have it on my shelf, and sometimes I still open it to look at all my answers. They are embarrassing.
There's no way
There's
I
some
still have mine, but I
there's
had
some
them.
information in there about me that needs to be like nobody can
Yeah,
ever
the
see
do
this.
it
I remember I made
yourself
a
book
TikTok about it a long time ago, but then
came
I
out in
took down the
2008.
TikTok. Yeah.
2008.
Yeah, the do it yourself book. Wow, that came out early into its run. They just right away they made a do it yourself book. Interesting. Um
Yeah,
all right, Doug,
yeah,
is that your diary or do you
yeah.
have
I
Get
also
it?
listen, I've been watching Lioness
Okay.
on Paramount Plus.
Is Lioness isn't Lioness the one that's part of like a longer title? This is like your what show is it again?
It's Special Ops
Special
Lioness
Ops. There you go. That's what I was thinking
starring
of. Yes,
Zoe
yes.
Saldana
Right.
and Nicole Kidman.
Potential Oscar winner, Zoe Saldana.
In her dreams.
Potential Oscar winner times 2 Nicole Kidman as well.
Yes. Oh, she's in it?
Yeah, it's Zoe Saldana and Nicole Kidman are like the 2 leads.
I didn't know Nicole Kidman was in it. I feel like I
Yeah.
haven't heard you mention that. That's wow,
Morgan
really?
Freeman
I've
is in
heard
it
him
too.
mention it.
Wow. And people
Yeah.
watch the show?
Old people watch it.
Yeah, that's
It's
crazy.
like me and some old people are like the fans. Yeah.
That's so interesting. I didn't know that they got all those people for
It's
Special
Taylor
Ops
Sheridan.
Lioness. Yeah, I know, but
They got
still,
what's his name? Kevin
just
Costner for like 9 seasons of Yellowstone.
yeah, but like, I mean, what else would he be up to? Like,
Horizon.
yeah, well, but that came after. Anyway, um,
Horizon. Remember when we get 2 of those?
yeah, remember when we were gonna get 4 of those?
Yeah, what's
Man,
going on with Horizon 2?
oh, nothing.
Is that
It's
shit just not coming out?
nah, yeah, it's over. Same. It's kind of like the Mickey 17 of its time.
No, Mickey
Um,
17,
no, I'm
that
kidding. We're
makes
gonna talk.
sense.
We're gonna talk about that later. Uh, okay,
That makes
let's.
sense,
It does.
actually.
It does. It does. We could talk about it later. Let's talk about Heretic, starring
Heretic.
Hugh Grant, Chloe East, and Sophie Thatcher. Sorry.
And
It's
what's his face shows up for
Topher
2
Grace.
seconds.
Yes,
Yeah.
Topher Grace shows
What's the
up.
deal?
Yes,
So that was, I don't know, really to
that's
hop
where
into
we're gonna
that.
start. I
Yeah,
feel like
I
we
don't
need
know
to.
why.
We
I don't
need,
know. I was
So,
gonna.
so what's the deal with that
what's the
guy?
deal with
Because it was
Topher
like,
Grace?
what the fuck? It was like he was like in the movie, but he was like not in the movie, and I was like, I kept like waiting for them to like use him, and then they just
Yeah.
didn't. Like he was like he like knocked on his door, and he was like, and then he came back and he's like, I had to give you this fucking pamphlet, and then he leaves, and he's like not a part of the movie, and it's like,
Yeah, I think it
okay,
was. I think it was just like I think
I I just
you
assume
thought it
with
would be more
with an
valuable
actor
because they
of
got
Topher
Topher Grace to
Grace's
do it.
exactly an
Yeah,
actor of Topher Grace's like quality and stature, I just assumed that he would
Yeah.
be like a big part
yeah,
of the
but it's
movie.
That's
really
the
just
guy
like
from
a
that 70s show, and you wasted him.
You
yeah, but
wasted him.
it's really just there as like a
That's
tension
Eddie
and
Brock
like
from
thinking,
Spider-Man 3.
And you
it's true.
wasted him.
Fucking
Um,
shit, dog. I
to
don't know.
backtrack,
Okay.
the movie is I guess you would call it religious horror, religious thriller perhaps is better term here, about
Sure.
two missionaries who must go door knocking for people who are interested in the church, and they come upon, or they don't come upon, he actually signs himself up to
Yes.
learn more about the
He's
church.
interested in the church.
Yes, he's interested. Hugh Grant's character is interested in the church, and so these two
He's
young
very
women who
interested.
are missionaries have to go door knock at his house and tell him more
Yes.
about the church, and then he traps them in his
Yes.
house and
Yes.
makes them go on a journey where they must question their faith. And that's kind of the setup for the movie.
Yeah, they're not supposed to be in a house without another woman present.
Yes,
And
this
they
is
really like don't like fight that
and
back.
they really
That's-
don't. Yeah,
They're like, okay, she's in the other room.
like, yeah, we'll
and
just
then it's
come in. Like she's in the back. The thing that
I
like
guess there was other women present.
yes,
Yeah.
this is true.
So they didn't break the rules.
But I think they have to. No, they have to be in the room with you.
No,
I think
yeah.
is the thing.
Well,
But
they got in the room with her.
sure, yes. Well, that's way later.
Where did he
gotta work
source?
our way.
Where did he source those women?
They're also missionaries, I believe, that came door knocking.
There's no way.
There's all of them.
There's literally no way.
Oh, maybe not. I guess
I
not.
think
I
he
don't
just
know.
like no. I think they wanted to be there.
But like, how did
I
he
don't
What do you
get them
mean
to
by
that?
that?
Like,
What?
well, because the whole thing was like they like this is
Okay, we're like dancing around like the end of the
this
movie.
was
Let's
like
like
their like
let's like
their
rewind a
act
little
to
bit
God was
before
this thing.
before we get there. The
yeah,
thing the thing
heretic.
about this that like kind of surprised me
Mhm.
is, and I don't know, I mean, Doug said apparently he just never saw the trailer for this movie, I
Which is like
guess,
a lie. He's
which is
lying.
crazy. But
I
at
think I
least
just
for
tuned it out
yeah, at
whenever it
least from
came
your
on.
perspective, Owen, the thing that surprised me about this movie is like, in the trailer, they have this like pull quote where they're like religious horror, like you've never seen before, or whatever the fuck they say. And
Yeah.
like it kind of like doesn't show it as the movie that it is, which like in the first act, I actually was like so into the movie at first. Like I thought like the setup when we introduced the two girls, I was like,
Yeah.
I fuck with them, like they're cool. I like where this is going. They get to Hugh Grant's house, and in like that first room of his house, I was like, okay, this is like I
Mhm.
like the tension here. I like what we're doing here. Like this
Yeah.
seems like it could go down a pretty fun path. And then immediately once they follow him into the next room, I was like, "Oh, they're going to talk this entire movie. Like
Yeah.
this is like a talky like chamber drama
Yeah.
and
Yeah. Yeah.
not really a horror movie." And that's where I was like, this is not what I thought was happening from the trailer. Like
Mhm.
I thought it was going to be way more like he eventually they get to the point where he's giving them like these kinds of like physical tests, I guess, where they go to the room after that and there's like the fucking woman there or whatever. But like I thought it would be much more of that, where they like go down this like maze of like shit that is
They
testing their
needed
faith.
more room.
Instead,
Needed more
yes,
room.
like I thought it was going to be room after room of them like doing
Yeah.
crazy like puzzles that like make them question their faith, and it
Mhm.
was like
Mhm.
scary, as opposed to like, oh, there's an hour in the middle of the movie where
Where
Hugh
they're just
Grant
in this
just
one
talks to
room.
them. Yeah, and I
Yeah.
was like, this is not the movie that I thought I was signing up for at
I
all.
not I guess not really what I didn't think what it was gonna be, but I agree with you where like I really like the first like chunk before like they get into that main room, which is something I wasn't expecting because I kind of was dreading watching this because I was like I saw the trailer and I was like, oh, this movie looks bad. Like this trailer looks not good. It looks like just like a normal like bad horror movie. And I really liked the opening. I was like, I'm a big fan of Hugh Grant. I knew he was gonna be good. I really
Yeah,
liked the main two girls, Chloe East and Sophie Thatcher. I think do a good job, and I kind of liked the vibes in like kind of what we were doing at the beginning. But yeah, I think it does fall a little off once we start getting into the actual like labyrinth of it all. And I just wish that was a little more expansive.
yeah.
In terms
Turns
of
a bit into
the
barbarian toward the end there.
yeah, I guess it,
Well, but
it does like kind
Barbarian's
of
No,
because
barbarian's a cooler version of it for
Barbarian's
sure.
better movie.
Yeah,
you go into the basement and you're like, oh, the basement's gonna be fucked up, and then the basement's just really fucked up, and you had no
yeah,
idea what was gonna be down there, and it's just kind of
yeah.
crazy.
Well, yeah, I kind of wish they let them explore more on their own without Hugh Grant like returning every 2 minutes.
Yeah,
Like
and just
it
like
was because
talking at them.
and it kind of it suffers from like you have Hugh Grant, so you have to use him sort of thing, where it's like
Right.
you kind of have to keep bringing him back because like you don't want to waste Hugh Grant. But there's sometimes where like you should like leave him like let him do. He should have what it should have been like they're like discovering and searching and there's more rooms and they're kind of doing puzzle searching and then Topher Grace and Hugh Grant are like arguing or like having like they are talking upstairs. So we can cut back to that and have like use Hugh Grant and Topher Grace, but have Sophie Thatcher and Chloe East like on a different kind of adventure
That
downstairs.
actually does sound like a cooler version of this movie. I agree. Only because it would break up the talking and like
Yeah,
there would be the problem is once they start talking
they don't
and
stop.
you realize that they're going to be talking for a long time,
The
so
tension's
much of
gone.
like the tension is just like, yeah, it's just gone. I was like, this is
Yeah.
not really thrilling at all anymore. Like it was like I don't know.
Yeah.
Even when they then end up in like a room where they're in danger, I'm just like, like it's I don't
There's
know. He's just like
a
he just wants to talk a lot. So,
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, he just wants to have an audience to be annoying to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So
I'm
No,
like,
he
that's
should like
awesome. That's
he
awesome
should
how
like
I'm now
Twitch
this audience
stream.
to be
Yeah, he
for
should
him to
Twitch
be
stream,
annoying
bro.
to.
He should like make YouTube
Like
videos.
yeah, he could have just done this on Twitch, and he probably would have had
Yeah, he would have probably had mad
some decent
fans.
viewership.
the
Yeah.
movie is it's kind of like he's like one of
He probably
those.
could have swayed the election.
Well,
I
it
well.
kind of feels like he's one of those like Louder with Crowder like going on to fucking
Like college
college
campuses.
campuses
Yeah.
and be and like owning fucking unprepared
Yeah, yeah,
like
yeah.
students in debates where he's like, "Oh, do you believe in God?" "Oh, really?" It's like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
No, he does have
yeah.
those vibes. There's a, and we're like really hopping like all over the place. But there is a section where it's Chloe East and she's on her own because of X, Y, and Z, and she is running and she has like open like the lock with like the little key and like that's how she gets out. And, like that's like a whole scene where she's like on her own. She's kind of trying to escape and she's kind of maneuvering through these like places. And that's kind of that scene is like, oh, we just want like 10 times more of this, like just her like just make the whole thing like ridiculously
Yeah.
big, like a huge labyrinth, and just have a lot of them like kind of like maneuvering and like trying
Yeah.
to escape
Because
through that
that
because
scene where she's in the tunnel kind
yeah,
of captures the same tension at the beginning of the movie
yeah,
where they see like the sculpture in the dark and
yeah,
they're
no,
like
that's a
scared to
great
go into
scene,
the
that's a
next
great scene.
room. So it's like I felt, yeah, like if it were more like that, where it's like corridors where you like don't know what's happening, and
Yeah,
then there's like, and he could have even employed some of those let's how do I say we're gonna spoil things.
yeah.
He could have even employed some of his caged women as a to and
Yo, you
use
that's like
them
that's
in like a haunted hayride fashion, like as like, you know, like as workers that like scare you, you know, like it's like because they're just
Yeah, he just like releases them and they like chase you down.
yeah, well, I'm just saying it's like because the idea with the sculpture is like they thought it was a real person at first or something. So it's like
Yeah.
if there were just like if they were in a maze and there was just like real people like
Hmm.
there, like I guess trapped there, which would be
Yeah,
I don't
no,
know. But
there's no payoff for the sculptures either. They make a little bit of a big deal out of him having like creepy sculptures in his house, and then like
right,
they just
yeah,
kind of
I
like
think
never look
there's
at
not
him
really a
again.
lot of payoff for like any of like what's going on in the house actually.
Yeah,
Which is like another part that's confusing. I mean, that's like kind of really like the big complaint is that I think it's like I don't know what like the point of any of it is because it is like so shallow the more you think about it, and it's like it kind of like the I feel like it's going to be a successful movie for like a big crowd
It
because
has like a
people
92% on Rotten
yeah,
Tomatoes.
but like not even that, but because like even I walked out of the theater and I don't you know some these two random guys who looked like around my age, let's say, were
Who'd they vote for?
I don't know. I mean, but these two guys walk out and the guy's like talking to his friend and he walks right past me. He's talking to his friend and he's like, "Yeah, that's top 3 of the year." And I'm like, "Okay, so one, these guys go to the movies all the time if they're
What do you
thinking
think the
about
other
movies
two
like
movies
that."
are?
Deadpool and
Dune.
Wolverine and Dune Part 2. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but like it's like I do think that
And Heretic.
it
And
kind of
Heretic.
tricks you early on into thinking that like your brain is going to be picked about like these ideas
Mhm.
in a way that like the average person is not going to like then realize that it doesn't really like say anything meaningful about those ideas. So then like you come out the other side and you're just like, oh well, that was fascinating how they picked those things apart. And it's like they didn't even actually like it's like none of this is interesting actually. It's like this is just like
Yeah.
I don't know. I like questions about religion have been asked by like every famous person in history forever. Every philosopher ever has
Yeah.
questioned religion in the same ways that this movie does, and it almost made me think it was like how many movies could be like successfully disguised as smart movies if we just like take old ideas and put them in new movies because people don't like read anymore or
Yeah, yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
or care about like learning about the world. It's like we could just like take things that are like thousands of years old and just throw them in a movie like this and people are going to be like, "Man, that was a real that one was a real mind fuck." Like it's
Yeah.
just like none of it is really
Jar Jar Binks gets
like
mentioned.
yeah, Jar Jar Binks gets brought up, like it's like but all these like oh and then the metaphors, it's like dude, this is like Reddit stuff. This is
It is
like
No,
very, it is
he's a
this
very
is like a
redditor.
Reddit. It
Reddit
is
Hugh
very
Grant.
thread,
Reddit.
dude.
Hugh Grant is a redditor in
Like
this
the
movie.
like
But I think
talking
it's,
about
I don't
like
know. I think
Monopoly
it's
is
kind
like
of funny because it's like just getting trapped by a redditor is kind of it's just like silly.
yeah, I
I
thought
think
about that. I thought about
it's
that
like
after
silly to
where
like for me to like think like look at it as like this guy's ridiculous and like he's like annoying, but like that's like kind of scary.
yeah, I thought about that after where the point is kind of that this guy is like a Reddit
But I don't know.
bro,
I
like
don't
kind
know
of
if
like
that's
loser
like
who's gonna mansplain like
I
religion
don't
to
know if
you.
that's
Like
the point of the like what they want him to
yeah, I
feel
don't
like,
know if
but
that's my problem is that it's hard to tell if they accidentally come upon that being interesting or
but
if
he kind of
they
gets like owned pretty easily. Like they just have to like be like, okay, we just have to fight back and tell him he's stupid, and like they do it like that's all they have to do. So like,
yeah, but not just that. They were just like smarter than him the whole time. Because
I know,
Sophie Thatcher's character is smart from the beginning. Like that's like her
yeah,
thing is that she realizes this stuff. But then Chloe East's character, you find out by the end, was just like like
fucking
knew all
Sherlock
this stuff was
Holmes.
a yeah. She was Sherlock Holmes. She knew all this stuff was fake from the beginning, and she like outsmarted him the whole time. So
Well, I don't know if that's what happened, which is part of why I think this movie's kind of ridiculous. It felt like Hugh Grant put together this puzzle box, and then Chloe East's character just like solves the puzzle box exactly how he wants her to the whole time, and then at the end she just stabs him in the neck, you know?
sure. I think
Because
what's a little bit
because
confusing is that she pays attention to she references attention to detail, like stuff that she remembers before they even knew they were in trouble, which is like why were you already like solving your escape before you even knew, you know what I mean? Like she like references stuff from like that first room like setup stuff where it's like how do you even remember that because you thought you were just going to leave at that moment, so like why would you even be paying attention
Because she's
to
in
these
constant
to
fear of
these
people pulling
details?
down her pants, so like she has to be like on edge all the time because like that's just what she has to deal with, and she's just like
Yeah,
constantly paranoid because like people are like exposing her like fucking
magic
magical,
underwear.
yeah.
Yeah,
So like she just like is on edge, like she just like hasn't had like a good night's sleep in like a long time, so like
yeah, I guess that's
like
true.
she's just like traumatic little Mormon.
there's yeah. No, this movie's I don't know. I don't like this movie.
Yeah,
There,
I think Owen and I liked it a little more than you.
you brought up how it's like, oh, they don't even know that they're in danger at the beginning, and that's correct. There's
Like
some just
kind
like really egregious sound effects that are happening in the first scene where I'm like, if you just like take out kind of like these really like heavy-handed like horror sound effects, it's just like a normal conversation where like Hugh
Yeah.
Grant's playing this off like super well. It's like there's
Yeah.
no
But
reason to
it's like
be
yeah, I
weirded
mean,
out
none of it's
really.
like that, like it's like they yeah, that's true because it's like it sets up this creepy atmosphere, but, like, at the end of the day, it's like, this is probably just what the average person who would request these people to come to his house would talk like, you know?
yeah, I
Like,
kind
the
of wish
average
they
person interested in the church would probably ask similar questions.
I kind of wish they went to like some other houses first and like like step
Yeah.
there for like a second to like kind of just have like a contrast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Because it's like, because Doug's right. It's like some of, I mean, obviously it gets to a point where you're like, okay, there's like something a little off about this guy. But like, at least at first, it's like, this is
Hugh
just a
Grant's
dude
so
who's like
charming, and
curious.
he's playing
yeah,
it off super well. It's like literally, I was sitting there watching the movie, and they would do like these because like the lights go off, and it's like, oh, that's kind of weird, right? But then it's like there's like these really like haunted house ass fucking noises that are playing the whole time, and it's like if
Yeah.
you just take out those noises, it's just like, oh, Hugh Grant's like kind of a silly old man. And
Yeah.
there's no reason to not believe anything he's saying because of how charismatic he's being. So it's like you don't know that he doesn't have a wife in the other room, and you don't know that he's like being a predator trying to like be super bizarre. I don't know, but it's whatever.
Yeah. No, I mean, I do really like Hugh Grant in the movie. That's like one of the highlights. I think the movie is like at bare minimum entertaining and watchable because he's there the
yeah.
whole time. And you could tell how much fun he's having. And it is like some of the stuff I don't even remember like the specific lines, but there was like a couple of moments where like he just like says something that's so ridiculous where like my whole theater was kind of laughing and I was like, yeah, this is fun enough. Like I never really like. But that's the problem is really that middle section where they're just kind of. I didn't really realize how long it could go on for with the metaphors and the like
Well, but
and all of
also
that.
so much of the movie is Hugh Grant um talking, and everything he says is so fucking dumb to me.
Yeah.
It's like it sounds like it's like jingling fucking car keys.
Yeah.
It's like
That
I
no, that's what I felt like, and like once you realize that, you're just like, well, like what else is it gonna? I don't know. Uh, yeah, that's one of the big, that's one of the big problems. And I was saying that like it's like I mentioned in my review, and this is kind of going along with what we talked about before, where it was like they say something about iterations and like how they're all kind of like the same, and I was like, oh, maybe this is like meant to be like cool like meta commentary stuff. And then I was like, I don't think it's that smart. And it goes along with what we were saying before, where it's like I don't know if the movie is like purposefully doing it like a thing where it's like, oh, Hugh Grant is like this like loser who's mansplaining religion and like you have to deal with it. And actually like it's not meant like all the stuff he's saying isn't meant to be smart. Like that's kind of the point. um I
the
don't
movie
like I think
definitely
that's giving it too much credit.
the
Like
the movie doesn't agree with Hugh Grant's character.
no.
Um because the movie it's kind of turns into like it's about like how faith is good, and
Yeah.
it's like whatever you believe in God is fine, basically, kind of
Yeah.
is like what we get to at the end of the movie. Uh,
Then it's
which
like, what's the point? Like, it's like that was that was true earlier too.
yeah, I don't know. It is all very silly. I like the at the very end the thing with Sophie Thatcher. Um, I thought that was cool, and I wish the whole movie was
What
just full of
thing?
stuff like that. Um,
What do you
Yeah,
mean?
which part?
so like like the end of the movie.
When she like
She's
comes
dead.
back to life.
Yeah, when she comes back to life. I wasn't trying to say it
Well,
because
I
that's
said
like
before
Well,
that we were going to spoil
okay,
things. I already talked about
okay.
that the fact that he
yeah,
has
she comes back
women
to
locked
life
up
and
in his
she
like
like
thing in his
she
dungeon.
kills Hugh Grant,
Yeah.
and that's
Yeah.
what are you saying? That's what you like?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know what's confusing. I don't know like
No, no, no,
what's
no. It's not confusing. It was just I was confused because you like reference it so
Well,
vaguely.
because like
But
the
yeah,
end of the movie, like she's like not in it, so like I was very
yeah.
like.
No, I
Well,
thought
yeah,
Chloe
but
East was
then
really good in that
the
like third act as
the part that
well.
she is in.
Well, that's the thing. I think Chloe East like really comes into her own when she's like on her own,
Yeah.
and I think she does a really good job with that.
Yeah, I think all three performances are cool for what they are, like for what it is. I
Yeah.
think everybody's doing a good job. I wish that the talking was not so unbearable for so much of its runtime, but it is. I don't know. It is like broken up by Hugh Grant being silly in a way that's like
Mm.
charming to watch, like the Radiohead stuff and the fucking like it's like
Yeah.
he's being dumb and funny, and I could like have a good time with it. I just
Mhm.
wish it was like as promising as it felt at the beginning, because I really thought I was about to be watching like a good movie for like the first 30 minutes. I was like, yeah, I could get down with this, and then it turns into the complete opposite.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's still
It
entertaining
happens.
at the least at those sections, even if they're not like great.
The whole thing is very Shutter original movie. I think
Yeah.
it's kind of crazy that they're playing it in like Dolby theaters.
Well, that I think that's crazy, but I do think it makes like I think it makes sense that A24 picked this up. It feels in line with some of their lesser successful projects.
Does it?
Yeah, I don't
I
know.
guess.
I
Yeah.
mean, Shutter Original, I feel like it's a little too harsh on the film. I and
Yeah.
whatever that means, you
What's
know.
that movie called? The
Well, we don't know
that
what
ju-
movie you're thinking of,
that
so.
just got remade with James McAvoy.
Oh, Speak
Um,
No Evil.
yeah, Speak No Evil is a Shutter original.
Okay.
Did you
So you're
watch
saying this
that?
feels kind of like Speak No Evil?
I haven't seen it, but
Yeah.
it's
But it feels like what you think Speak No Evil would be.
no, it's just and no, never mind. Never
Your
mind.
idea of Speak No
This
Evil
seems
is
like a bad
unrelated.
example, Doug. I feel
Well,
like
I was just because you were saying like, oh, it's like because like Speak No Evil is like a movie people like, And Owen was like, "Oh, I don't know if it's that bad." Where it's like a Shutter original, and I'm
I
like,
mean,
"No,
people like
it just
Shutter original.
feels,
Shutter
yeah,
has
it just
some,
feels more
yeah.
like kind of in
Wasn't
line with that kind of
wasn't When
stuff."
Evil Lurks also a Shutter thing, or am I wrong about that? I don't
That, yeah,
know.
that was a
Yeah, it's like that
Shutter
movie rocks.
or
Yeah,
original motion picture.
yeah, but that movie also wasn't in Dolby cinemas.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Which
I
is
don't
this
know
just
what
why
that.
is this thing playing in
That
premium
is
large
kind of
format, bro?
bizarre. I saw it
yeah.
in a
I
big
guess there's
theater.
just like, what else would they be playing? I mean,
Venom,
yeah.
Venom.
Oh, Venom really did not get to stay in Dolby for very long, huh? It
No,
was like
because
a
they're too
week.
busy baking blueberry pies in the bag.
Yeah, that's yeah.
A24 is saying that they were going to pump in blueberry scent into select theaters during a titular, not titular, during a important
What
scene
scene
in
did they do it for?
when
The
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 candle,
blueberry pie scene.
the
What?
scene where they smell blueberries at the
Oh,
beginning.
I guess that
What
makes
other
sense.
scene would it be?
When the like prophet is like eating the pie.
Oh,
Oh, I guess they
yeah,
could
that
have
would
done it for
be.
that.
I feel like that room has other smells. I feel like there might be other
Yeah, can they
smells in that
pump in
room.
some other smells? It's like a
Yo,
5x.
A24 is
till the
pumping
room
in sewer
stinks.
water and
They're
feces.
pumping it into the room stinks.
Yeah.
That would have been
Is there anything else you guys liked
hardcore.
about the movie?
Yeah, Sophie Thatcher should be in
More
Every
movies. Yeah.
movie.
every movie.
Yeah.
Every movie could be
Are you gonna
improved
watch?
by
Are either of you gonna
Sophie.
watch Yellow Jackets?
Fuck no.
No, dude, I don't.
No,
I
I
like.
it's
completely
probably
forgot that
good.
Sophie
I know
Thatcher was
this is
in that
another horror
too.
movie with Sophie Thatcher that I didn't like, but I did like the Boogeyman like a decent amount as well. I think she
I
was good
liked
in that.
her in the
Liked her
Boogeyman a
in the
lot.
Boogeyman. Yeah, I
Yeah,
thought she was. I thought she
I
was
like
good
that
in the movie.
movie. Yeah, I don't know. I think she's great.
I think the
She's
Boogeyman is better than this. Um,
she's yeah, she's really good in this.
yeah.
I think it was interesting. I was doing like kind of little research in the both the main actresses are I think ex Mormons, so that's an interesting
I
kind
thought
of.
it was just one of them. I
They
think it was
both.
just.
Or what do you
Or
mean?
the,
They're both ex, or they're one of his ex?
yeah, I think one of them's X, the other one is not. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it is both of
I
them. I don't
think
know.
they're
That would be.
both. I
Oh yeah, it's like that. Yeah, because I know they said something. They were like, it's just coincidence. Like that wasn't like a plan in the casting or whatever. It just like
Yeah,
happened
they
that
both
way.
have Mormon backstories, which I think is
Yeah.
interesting, and also
Bro
Sophie
said they
Thatcher.
have backstories.
Well, and I
Yeah,
think
they
so.
both have Mormonism in their lore.
In the lore.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, it's I don't know. I
That
feel like
is cool.
it's like not really a movie that we have to talk about all that much unless we really want to get into the nitty-gritty of the religion stuff, which like we don't.
I
I
mean,
think Hugh Grant
well,
should do more horror movies. I think
there's
he should
That'd be
do
fun.
that.
there's stuff in Heretic that I think that is dumb. Like I
Sure,
kind of
I love that.
reference like this puzzle box part of it. I'm not a fan of like the kind of plot convenience that comes along with a movie that is trying to build a puzzle box like this, because then you just have one character asking like dumb questions and then the other character answering it like perfectly um in ways that the like he could have never possibly known that she was going to like say these exact words, when
Yeah.
he asked her these questions. I don't know. Maybe
I
I'm
It's
being
kind of
I
like
dumb.
it's kind of like like when you watch like videos of like people who are dumb doing escape rooms, and the escape room guide has to they like look over at them, and the escape
yeah.
room guide's not supposed to help, but the escape room guide like knows that they suck at it, so he's just like explaining everything, like he's explaining like
Well, it
where
like
to
I
look
don't
for the
know.
clues.
I kind of liked it because it was like one of those like video games where you have to like pick like multiple different options, and like she kept like getting the right one. But like there was like
Yeah.
just like text that she like knew that like
Well,
he
I'm
knew.
thinking
It was like
there's
very like game like that. I
there's a
kind of was interesting.
there's a part towards the end where Hugh Grant's like, "What's the one true religion?" And
Yeah,
then
and she
And then
knows
she just
exactly.
knows what to
and she
say.
says like, "What is it? It's like power or
Control.
Yeah.
oh,
Control.
control."
Control.
And
Yeah.
it's like, bro, like you get 50 other people in the situation and they're saying 50 other things.
No, but
Like
it feels like yeah, like the word just like pops up and you just like click the button, like
yeah.
he like the answer is like fed to her, which I think is like funny. I don't know. I kind of like the very much like I wish it kind of went more into like we said like with the more rooms and stuff, but I kind of like the puzzly
There should have been a
aspect of it.
3D platforming section of the movie. Like
Yeah,
it
where she's
was,
like jumping around.
yeah, like it's astronaut.
Yes, yes,
Yeah, that'd be
like
cool. That's an
yeah,
idea for Heretic too.
and like it should have been like
Heretic.
there should have been like it should be like in the violent nature the way the camera was positioned, and she was like had to like fight all those like prophets.
What if it was like
Yes.
here where the camera's not moving and you just have to watch them have the conversation about religion from an unmoving camera for 2 hours?
What if it's like a ghost story where it's like a single location throughout a long period of time, and then there's a party where Hugh Grant's character goes on a rant about how Jesus is stolen from a bunch of other religions. Uh,
Now we're cooking.
hold
Let's
on.
go.
It's funny how like every suggestion we've had is like kind of in some way a better movie than the one that this is.
I
Or
will
ends up
say it
being.
is better than 65.
Yeah, sure. It's an upgrade. Neither of us have watched that movie Haunt that they made, right?
No.
Or neither of you, I should say, because I haven't seen it.
Nope.
Yeah, that's what I was. But I was kind of like a reference going into it. I was like 65 is just like
65.
really
Yeah.
boring movie with like talented actor.
No, these
Yeah.
guys, Scott Beck and Brian Woods, they seem like some pretty competent content creators. I think that
Jesus Christ.
I think that they're gonna make a lot of money making content like this. A lot of
Yo, it's kind of
a
like
lot of
this is
really
kind of
good
like the
second
horror.
screen
It's kind of like
content.
the jubilee of horror movies.
Yeah, kind of like the jubilee of horror movies. Like,
Man,
listen, the movie works as a podcast. It's like perfect. Like, you could be on your
somebody
phone. You could be on your phone just
somebody
listening to
out
the movie,
there
and you
somebody out there
understand what's going on. There's
looking
a
for a
couple of big
letterbox
moments you like that you're gonna
one-liner
like
just
look up
got
to. You're gonna like look up to because you're like, oh wait, that's like there's some they're not talking anymore, and then you could look back down on your phone, play Call of Duty or something, and they're gonna keep talking, and then you're gonna
Playing Call of Duty on your phone.
Doug
like an
really
audiobook.
does not like this movie.
Am I wrong? You don't have to
No.
watch the movie to get it. Like it's like an audiobook.
Yeah, it's sure.
Well, it's like also the characters.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, should we go back there? And then they go back there, and then they're in a new room, and it's like then Hugh Grant's like, oh, you found me back here. And it's like they're fucking. It's
No,
like an
exactly. It's
audiobook.
super
It's like
video
It is kind of like a video game. And I even think about the thing that Owen said where the video game has like it has like all the options of like what button to click, and it would be that exact screen with like the ticking clock when she points the phone at her and she's like, and it says run with a question mark, and it would just be like run, don't run.
yeah, it's like Until Dawn or like
Yeah,
Heavy
no.
Rain. It's like Heavy Rain.
Yeah,
It's all like those
that's
like really like kind of script games.
yeah.
I wish they kind of used the phones more. I think like the idea of like one like the new flashlight being the phone, like the modern flashlight just being the phone flashlight.
Yeah.
And also like they do like what you like you said like the scene where she like says like, "Hey, run." I wish they use that more to like communicate. But they kind of just openly talk and then I hope he doesn't hear them.
Yeah.
Like
Or they
when
just
he
say stuff in front of him.
Yeah, so like I don't know. I think like the text stuff, like even though like they can't call or like they don't have service, I think there are ways to utilize the phone, and like that's what they have. Like that, those are their tools. So I kind of wish because they spend so much time like trying to get these matches, and they like don't end up using the matches.
Yeah.
Like we spend like so long trying to get those matches, and then the old lady like barfs on them.
Right. Does he use Postmates for groceries, or because
I
like he
think
can't
goes
what's the
grocery shopping.
well like
What do
because
you
the
mean?
door like locking every
He
like
can unlock it.
no, I get, yeah, but like what is like I don't understand the contraption really,
I like how it's like really
how it's like
specific.
stuck for, yeah, like I don't understand like how
I
it
like
works. It's like
how
a door that's just like stuck for the whole day that
it's
can't
like a really
open.
specific idea, but then also I don't know. That is a good point you raise.
Yeah, it just doesn't feel practical. It's like, so he just locks the door and then it doesn't open for like 24 hours. Like what's like I don't.
No, the key from the outside probably works. There's
Yeah,
just no keyhole on the inside.
Well,
He
yeah,
probably
but like
he probably
but
has
then
a key.
right, but it's like does he only, is it only like this, does this mechanism only exist when he invites Mormon missionaries over to his house? Or like, is this just like a year-round thing that he does with the door? Like,
Yeah, maybe you can turn it off.
yeah, that's what I'm
could,
thinking. There must
yeah,
be
you
like
could
a
maybe
way to
turn it
turn it off, and then
off.
it's just like a normal house. I don't know, because it's like, because it just seems like annoying. I would
I
think
think it's
like.
wait. So
Like,
maybe I'm
imagine you
not.
wake up in the middle of the night and you just want to make a run to 7-Eleven for a little snack, and now you got to fix your whole door
Maybe
mechanism
this is
just so
like
that you could
something
get back
I'm
in.
not
I don't
aware
think
of.
most people don't do like midnight runs to the 7-Eleven for
Sure, but like,
snackies.
I'm just saying, you know what I mean? Maybe I guess he doesn't have pets. I was gonna say, what if he has to
Maybe
like let his dog
I
out
don't.
in the middle of the
I
night?
don't know if like I'm like missing something, but there's a scene where he's like, "Do you guys like mind like the metal in the walls?"
Yeah, like
And
right at the
like
beginning.
and like why would they like? Is there something like that I'm missing where like they would mind the metal in the walls? Like is that like a Mormon thing?
Yeah, I was gonna say maybe it's a Mormon thing, but I don't think I don't
No,
know.
it's about the phone service.
No, yeah, but you wouldn't just
No, but
like,
they didn't know that.
yeah,
No, but like that's why he said it though, because he said there's metal in the walls and the
Yeah,
ceiling.
exactly.
right. But why even say
Um,
that?
it's like a warning. No, because it's like hey, you're not gonna have phone service in here.
But why didn't he didn't say that
It's a
though?
movie. It's a movie. I don't know.
But
And
I was just like
also like,
It's like
if you're ever,
he says it so when they try to make a phone call at the end, he could be like, I know you hey, I told you there was metal in the
yeah,
ceiling. I
well,
know you
that's
didn't
the
make a
real
phone. That's
reason, is
like
so
no,
that
I
he could do.
know
The
that.
real
I
reason
know
is so he
that.
could do a
I just
gotcha. But from their
I just don't
perspective,
know
I would be
why they were
so,
like, okay,
I
yeah,
would be
sure, I don't give a fuck.
immediately thrown off if someone asked me that, because because like, the
Like, why do
thing
you have
is,
metal in your
if you
walls?
make a call and you don't have connection, or like whatever, or like you try to go on the internet somewhere and you don't have connection, you just assume you're in a place with bad cell service.
Yeah.
So it's
But
like, so that would just be my automatic assumption
they didn't know
is
that
like,
because they immediately try to like fake phone call him. So like they don't
yeah,
know that he like didn't have cell service.
yeah.
Or
So
like
I
they don't
like,
know that he knows that they don't have cell service.
if I'm walking into someone's house and
And
like
he's like,
literally the
by the
first
way,
thing
I
he
got
says when they open the door is, by the way, I have metal walls, I'd be like, yeah, dude,
yeah.
I'm gone. Like,
I
why would you
actually
even say something like that
when I
to
went to
me?
Kevin's house, he immediately was like, oh by the way, I have metal in my
Yeah, I was
walls.
like, do you mind that my, my house has metal walls? It's like they
I was
can't hear you
like,
scream outside. I hope it's okay. Like, I would
yeah.
just leave, dude. Why would you ask me that? That's so strange. It's just like the phrasing of it is strange. I would just be like, "Hey, by the way, we have bad cell reception in here because
Yeah,
my house is in a
exactly.
remote area." And then like that's like, like just be
Yeah,
like, "Hey,
that's
by
a
the
more
way, like
normal thing to say.
there's not good cell service in here." I wouldn't tell them that the
Yeah,
walls are
I was just like
metal.
I was wondering if I was like missing something where like Mormons were
Yeah,
like
something
anti-metal.
anti-metal. Yeah, I don't. That'd be pretty hard, I think. To
What are Mormons' opinions on metal?
Are you live Google? Okay, well, Owen Google's Mormon opinions on metal. I think we can transition into the news here because I don't know that we have to say too much
Some
more about
Mormons listen to
Heretic.
metal music.
Okay, not the metal we were asking about, but I guess that's okay. Um, I want to remind everybody, of course, to share some feedback if you liked listening to us talk about Heretic by liking, commenting, subscribing on YouTube. You can rate the episode on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, and you can follow us at all of the links in the episode description. Um, we've got a bit of news here, starting with Paul King confirms that Wonka 2 is in the works.
And Dougal Wilson confirms he will be directing Wonka 3. Not really, but the
did you know that there is a sequel to Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory? Like the
The
book?
the book,
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
the
the book.
book, and
Okay.
it's about Willy Wonka. He makes an elevator that goes to the moon.
Mm-hmm.
But in his will, Roald Dahl
Said
uh,
no, no, no,
said that
no movie,
nobody
man.
could ever make this into a movie
Yeah,
because he hated the Willy Wonka and the right. Well, yeah, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory movie with what's his name?
Gene
Gene
Gene.
Wilder.
Wilder.
Yeah, Gene Wilder. He hated that movie so much that he put in his will that they can't make a movie based off of the other book.
So now we get
But was
Wonka
that
2.
only? But he was only thinking of it in reference to the Gene Wilder movie, so he never even thought about Wonka as a
No,
I
he
know
possibility.
never even saw Timothy
he
Chalamet
never
and
even
Hugh
saw
Grant.
Timothy
Hugh
Chalamet.
Grant.
Yeah, Hugh Grant. Yeah.
I'm kind of interested where they kind of go from this. Obviously, like the first movie ends with them like building the factory.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm assuming it's just like gonna be like the early days of the factory being like a thing, which is
It
I
should
don't know.
just be a straight up remake of
I
that
know, like they just
Gene Wilder movie.
they just bring in Charlie. I think Chalamet's maybe too young for that, but I don't know. I
Makeup?
think
You could put makeup on.
why would they call it Wonka too?
Wonka too.
Or they should call it
Well,
Wonka and Charlie.
Well,
they just
we don't. They're
confirmed
not
they just
saying
confirmed that
it's
Well, I
Wonka
called
know.
2 is
Wonka
in the
2.
works.
It's
The
it's
title's
gonna be
not
called
locked
it's gonna be
yet.
called
They're still
Wonka too.
It's the
they're still
successor
working
to the
on
movie. It's like the
Right.
Nintendo Switch, right? They're making the Nintendo Switch 2, but all they're doing is calling it the successor to the Nintendo Switch right now. It's like
It could be
Wonka
like
2 is not the
is there
name of
is
the
there a
movie.
It's
good
gonna
is
be
there
the
a
name.
good
I promise you, it's gonna be the name.
is there a good 2 pun in there? Not really. Won-
Wonka?
Twonka.
yeah.
Twinka.
Twonka?
Tunka?
Oh, Twonka, and then
Yeah.
it's 2. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. That's a good idea. Or Wonk again? No.
Mm,
Okay.
Wonk again.
Because like the A
I don't
at the
know
end
about
of
that
Wonka
one.
start like
Wonka
again.
returns.
two Wonka, 2 chocolate.
Zendaya and Anne Hathaway have joined the cast of Christopher Nolan's next film.
They're gonna play wives. I think they're just gonna be. I think they're gonna be
Zendaya is gonna be
Tom
no, it's gonna be
Holland
Zendaya is
Tom
gonna
Holland's
be
wife and Anne
Tom
Hathaway is
Holland's
going to be Matt
girlfriend.
Damon's.
Yeah, I think that's what it's gonna be. I think they're gonna be the 2 love interests.
Yeah,
Probably.
that checks out. You think there's going to be a situation in which when they are helicopter copping
Rest in
it up
peace,
in the
Anne
air,
Hathaway.
Oh
and like
no.
they're gonna be in the air like in the third act, and wherever like the crime is happening on the ground, it's gonna be like right where Zendaya is, and Tom's gonna have to save her from the air from his helicopter.
Or maybe Zendaya, because she's like in her kind of like her producing bag with like opinions on scripts and stuff. Maybe she was like, we should flip it on its head, and I save Tom in the third act.
Yeah. Or
Um,
what if she's just the helicopter cop and Tom is just a stay-at-home husband?
What if it's actually like Tom Holland and Zendaya are the leads, and then Matt Damon is like not even a major character.
He's just playing his character from Oppenheimer.
Yeah, even though this movie was announced as sorry, Matt
Yeah,
Damon.
Matt Damon was the first guy.
Yeah, he's
on
the first guy.
No, this is cool. I'm excited.
Yeah, well,
there was also like part of this news was also that they said that Lupita Nyong'o would be in the
and
movie,
now
and
she's
then
not.
they said that she's not actually in
I
the
was
movie.
shocked because
that was
I
just,
actually
like,
that was the most interesting bit of news for me. I think, because I think like Zendaya that was cool, and Hathaway, Nolan
Yeah.
regular makes sense. But Lupita, I think it would be a big role for her.
Yeah.
And now like that was just that was fake news.
And especially if it was all 3 of them, they can't all be wives. So someone would have to have a
They
substantial
could
role
all be wives.
of a third pilot, you think? Like a
Yeah,
third
just
helicopter
another
cop,
one.
just
She's just
another-
another wife. It would've
Yeah,
been
No, she's a
horrible.
wife to a
Hounds.
dead pilot.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
like she has to warn Tom Holland like.
I have a
my
feeling
hus-
we don't know what this movie is about. I feel like we're way off on her.
No, it's
She's
about
like Tom Holland. No, like
it's
my
about
husband died.
like futuristic cops.
Yeah. No, I know
It's like
that.
it's like
but
Megalopolis.
I don't think it's like
It's
that.
like mega. They need to announce Adam Driver.
It's like Christopher Nolan. What do you mean announce? Oh, in this movie.
As like the third
Yes,
helicopter cop.
in this movie. Announce Adam Driver and Natalie Emmanuel in this movie.
What if Adam Driver's the villain?
What about
That
Driver's the
W.
wife?
Both are W situations.
Yeah,
Um,
I agree. Paul Mescal is in talks to star in Ridley Scott's next film, The Dog Stars, an adaptation of the acclaimed post-apocalyptic novel by Peter Heller. And then in addition to this news, there was a quote where
Whoa,
Ridley
whoa, whoa.
Scott
Whoa,
said
whoa,
that
whoa, whoa, whoa,
he
whoa.
wants to direct a Western,
Oh, okay.
unrelated. But
Okay.
What happened to Bomb?
Well, that's the thing is I kind of made a tweet about this, and there's like 97 movies that are titled Ridley Scott's next movie.
yeah,
And I don't know why this one is titled that now because like multiple articles are like the Bee Gees is the next movie. The Bee Gees is his next movie. And then it's like, oh, his next movie was with Paul Mescal. And I mean that makes sense because they are like
Bro,
just work together, but
and they're useless fucking journalism degrees. Like I swear to God, like not even doing the due diligence to to
Like,
fact check when
they're
you make
fake
fucking
casting
claims.
Lupita in the movie. They're saying Ridley Scott has 7 movies that he's shooting at the same time. That's
Yeah,
you know what? It's how he's gonna use AI. He's gonna shoot 7 movies at once with AI.
Yeah.
He's just gonna He
The
said, "Fuck
AI
it,
Paul
Tarantino.
Mescal.
He's gonna make more movies than Tarantino has in the next year with AI."
Yeah. I don't think that. Do you want to talk about the AI thing a little bit? Because
Yeah,
I
we have
don't.
to
I
bring it
didn't
up.
include it here, but go ahead. Yeah.
We have to bring it up
I
because
I
apparently
don't
it's damning news, and I have to talk about it.
I don't
It's a
think
bit.
it's like a big deal because I think that the reason why we see these older guys like Ridley Scott and James Cameron
Yeah.
like we see them just like openly embracing or
Mhm.
like trying to, I should say,
Yeah,
they're
trying
trying
to
to embrace
understand
it.
it and like come at it in that length.
It's because like they're so like these guys are so old and the generation gap is so extreme that like they just will never understand the technology, right? There's just
Yeah.
like a certain level where it's like they will only ever understand so much, you know, because it's just like the generation gap is too wide. So and then they have people around them that are basically telling them like, hey, this is like it's the same thing as CGI basically, you know, and they
Yeah.
remember how it was like, oh, you have to embrace CGI. Like,
Ridley Scott is 86 years old. I'm not really worried about him. The
no,
more
yeah.
damning thing he said was that Saltburn was one of his favorite movies of the year.
He
I
did
He
think
say
did
that
that.
not watch
Yeah.
that shit.
he said Barry. I would have loved to have Barry in my movie, but he went on to do Saltburn, which is a much better movie than I could ever make. I can, you know.
I don't think he said that. I don't think those were the words.
He said Saltburn. It's the best movie I've ever seen in my life,
Yeah. He did. No, he
and
said it's the best movie of the year, which is
yeah, which
an opinion that some people
maybe
have,
Jacob
actually.
Elordi can be in Bomb.
Yeah.
So the
Bomb's
Bee
never
Gees
getting
movie
made.
and the Dog Stars are both on his letterbox page, but Bomb is not there.
Yeah, and he also wants to do a western, and he also wants to make Gladiator 3, and he also wants to.
I
Do
don't
we
think
do we
that
have
Bomb
betting
is
odds? Do we
happening.
have betting odds on an over or under for how many movies
I'll
Ridley
take the
Scott
Bomb
has
script.
left?
I'm gonna say 2.5.
2.5.
Those are the
Or
Yeah.
odds.
oh,
That
are you
makes
taking
sense.
the over or
The
under
over
on
is.
that
I
one?
mean, it's impossible to take the over because he's 86 years old.
Sure.
I just don't know. It's tough. What? So
I
Napoleon
think
came
it's a
out
good
last
line.
year. Did Napoleon come
I
out
no,
last
two and
year?
a half is a great line. I think it's right in that sweet. Like it's either two
Yeah,
or
it
three.
is. It is.
Yeah, it's either two or three more movies.
I'm taking the over.
You gotta bet on the
95 years
man. You
old.
gotta bet on the
95 years
man.
old. He's gonna go till he's fucking 100.
Doug, are you over or under?
It's hard to bet
But
against him.
the under is so sad. That means he's dead.
Yeah, the under
That
is
means
Yeah.
sad.
that
It
means
is
he
Yeah,
hard
no,
to
it
dies.
is.
That means he
it
just
is
dies
it's hard to bet against him.
because he wants
How
to
old is
make
Clint
like
Eastwood?
10 movies. 93.
Yeah.
94.
Yeah,
Ridley Scott, listen, he's probably
Ridley
gonna
Scott is healthy enough.
Yeah.
he's
No,
gonna
he's
be
healthy
like
enough. And the thing is he's gonna make one per like 2 years for the next. Yeah, I'd go over. I'd go over.
I think he'll probably have a movie come out in 2026.
Yeah. Yeah, he'll have a 2026 one, and he'll probably have another one in
But
2028.
maybe he makes two in this span, so like it's 2026 and 2027.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about it.
Because
It might just be
Napoleon
two. It might
Napoleon
just be
came
two
out
more.
last year, right?
Yeah. Napoleon came out last year.
But the Bee Gees movie feels like something he could make quick. And
yeah.
maybe I'm wrong with that, but it feels like a less daunting task than like Napoleon,
Right.
right?
No, that's a good point.
And also he's like maximizing, like he's like fucking movie maxing, or he's like shooting these shits in like 5 days.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, because he has like 8 cameras that are shooting, so he never shoots coverage because he just has like footage from 8 cameras.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll go over. I'll say he'll make at least
Okay.
3.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's go over. Let's take the over. Let us know. Let us know in the
What is
comments
going
if you're
on
taking the
with
over or the under.
what's
Yeah,
going on
just
with
say over or
Bomb?
under. That's it. Just
Yeah.
Well, Bomb's not happening, but I'll gladly take. I'll
If you
gladly take
Google
the script.
Ridley Scott Bomb, there's
It
not a
talks about
single
Napoleon.
article from
Talks
the
about
Seeker.
talks about the Gladiator 2 projections.
In other news, HBO denies rumors that happened just the other day that Euphoria has been canceled ahead of its 3rd season. An HBO representative said it is going into production in 2025 still. Nothing has changed, despite the fact, of course, that Zendaya has joined the Christopher Nolan project, and Jacob Elordi and Sydney Sweeney are all filming things in the first half of 2025. Apparently, somehow they are saying that Euphoria is still happening.
Alexa Demi will be 35 in the next season of Euphoria.
35.
Well, they
If they
are
shoot it
saying
next, if they
that the
shoot it
plan is
next
for
year,
them
she'll
to
be
not be in
35.
high school anymore, so maybe that won't matter.
35
I'm just saying,
anywhere is
35. That's old.
No, she's gonna be 34.
Listen,
She'll be 35 if they shoot it next year.
She's 33 now.
yeah, next year is in 2 months, dude.
Right, no, okay. Hey.
Still as
Um,
old.
no, yeah, I mean it's older than a high schooler for sure, but
Well, yeah, that's what I'm
if
getting at.
they're-
Is that that's like a lot older. That's like
She's
yeah,
been
really
but
old
old.
to be playing
if
a
they're
high school
planning
student.
on aging them up, I don't know to what degree, but they could be like in their
What if they were like
mid
40?
20s. That wouldn't work then. That's too old.
What if they like use makeup like age them up? Like
I
it's
guess
like
that's possible.
Euphoria, they're 40 now.
Yeah.
They're all older than I thought they were. They're
Euphoria
all
20 years
pushing
later.
30. Except for
Yeah.
Hunter Schafer.
Yeah.
No, I mean, there's just like this is I don't know how they. It's weird. I don't know what the plan is here. They're just saying
Well,
like it's
so-
not canceled, but it's like how are you gonna make it seems very obvious that you're not doing it.
I feel like it's so interesting because it appears that Levinson has a tremendous amount of support and loyalty from the cast, and the cast is kind of the whole thing here.
Yeah.
And then but then it also seems like Sam Levinson is a fucking hack terrible writer, and like producers at HBO are like, you cannot make the next season of Euphoria
It's just
about all
confusing
this
though
stuff
because it's
you're
like you
interested
mean
in.
to it's like it seems like there's support for him, but then they are just like their careers are all thriving right now and they are signing on to all these projects. So it's like
Well, I think, but like that's the thing though. That's why it's like HBO couldn't do Euphoria without him, because the only way to get these actors back would be if he did it, if he was attached, right? Because of the loyalty. Because they are all big, so much bigger than Euphoria. Even Euphoria, which is like when it's on, is the biggest show in the world.
yeah.
A lot of these guys, like Zendaya and Sydney Sweeney, Jacob Elordi, they're all kind of above that now. They're all above being on even like prestige
Zendaya's
TV.
in a Nolan movie.
Yeah, like they've all graduated from needing that.
Yeah, I don't know. Just confusing. I just don't see how we're ever gonna get this. But I mean, they'll probably just deny it until they can anymore.
There's, I
until,
mean,
until
we'll
they're just
find
not
out
filming.
soon.
They'll deny
They
it till
said they
Hunter
wanna-
Schafer is 30 years
Yeah, they
old.
said they want to film in the first quarter of 2025.
Yeah,
Like,
we'll know in a couple months whether or not they're
Yeah.
shooting. Whether or not they're shooting.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Next piece of news is what we referenced at the beginning of the episode. Bong Joon-ho's Mickey 17 has now been delayed from January 31st to April 18th of 2025. Doug had some things to say, so continue.
Yeah,
your
Doug,
thoughts
here we
from
go.
earlier.
No, you're good.
Oh,
An hour
yeah. I
ago?
mean, they're just moving it for a better, a more good IMAX window.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is just, it's just so like it's just so long, man. Like we've been waiting. We've talked about this movie like
For years.
40 times over the course of the past year and a half.
I think this movie existed before we started doing this podcast.
Yeah.
We've
What do
known
you
about
mean,
Mickey
like-
17.
Like they filmed it all.
No, like the
No,
idea of it.
Like we
Yeah.
knew that Bong Joon-ho's next movie was going to be
okay,
an
okay.
adaptation of the book Mickey 7 starring Robert Pattinson. I
Yeah,
feel like
yeah,
I've
yeah.
known that for fucking a billion years.
Yeah. You're old as shit, man.
Fuck you.
Fuck
Yeah.
you.
We'll see the movie
fuck
eventually. We'll see it in April.
Yeah, it's going to be really silly and really fun.
Yeah, I'm excited.
It's like Deadpool.
No.
Well,
No.
what do you mean by that?
Nope.
Oh man.
What is Alexa Demi up to, by the way? Is she in movies?
You would like to know.
Yeah, you would like to know, Doug.
Well, we were just talking about the cast of Euphoria, and it's like, what is she?
No, she doesn't really.
She's gonna be in mid 2000s.
I hear she's like a chill hang, really, is what she does. She's just like
She's
just
a
kinda,
chiller.
She's just kind of like got good vibes, just like person you want to be around, kind of deal.
She's in no movies.
Yeah, no, she doesn't really do that. She's in.
Yeah, she's not into all
She
that.
doesn't
Like,
really do that.
She's not really
Well,
into
she's
that.
in that. She's in that Julio Torres show, like one of the main
The
characters.
Spookies?
The
No,
Spookies.
Phantasmus.
Oh, Phantasmus. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Have you seen the show?
No, but I'd watch
Okay.
it. I'd
Wrong.
Oh, when
I'd
she was in
watch
The Idol. She was in an
I guess
episode
she's
of The
like more of
Idol.
a TV actor.
Well, yeah, we're talking about a
She's in
television
like
show.
no TV shows either, though. I'm on her IMDb.
No, she's in the OA.
She's in the OA.
She's in Love, which is a show that I watched 2 seasons of, but I don't remember her being in it.
That's plenty
she
of
must have
dead
been a-
education.
She must have been a minor role in that. Taylor Russell is rumored to be in talks to star in Frank Ocean's directorial debut.
Yeah, cool, bro. I don't know. I feel like it's impossible for me to care about Frank Ocean. I don't know how you guys feel.
Yeah, I like his music. He's cool.
I like.
I don't know if I want to see him direct a movie that bad. I don't know if that's
I
something
liked
that
his
gets me
music,
too excited.
and I waited for him to make new music, and then, half of my life happened.
Yeah. Yeah. I've been
uh,
like, I don't know.
I watched that guy release cock rings. I watched that guy advertise cock rings he designed on his Instagram story while I was waiting for him to release new music.
A
Yeah.
true artist.
But now he's gonna make a movie. I get excited at the idea of Taylor Russell being in good movies, but I don't know that the Frank Ocean debut is what I had in mind. But I am happy to see more Taylor Russell, I guess. Yeah. No, Owen doesn't have any thoughts at all. Owen, are you a fan of Frank Ocean?
I mean, I was, I guess. Like, I know, like,
No, like that's something like I was too. Like,
like
Yeah.
in high school, I listened to him, and then like he's not
and then
someone
like
I
half, like
That was like
literally,
last year.
No.
bro. His last album came out 8 years ago.
Yeah.
Really? Damn.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think he like. I don't know. It says this is for A24, right? Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. We just it's not really enough information to really make any strong comments on it. I think it's always interesting when someone kind of enters into this sphere. I think Taylor Russell's incredible though. So it's interesting on that level. But yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not really. I don't know. I think it's more interesting than like the Weekend movie with like Barry and Jenna Ortega.
Yeah, I didn't even include that in the news.
But you really liked The Idol though. You were like,
No.
oh, I love The Weeknd.
Yeah,
No.
you said it was the first time you've enjoyed watching TV in ages. That was The Idol.
I mean, it has all my favorite people in it. I like Lily Rose Depp's incredible. You know, Rachel Sennett is in it.
Right.
You know, it's
Those are all your
much-
favorite people. Are Lily
Yeah,
Rose Depp and Rachel Sennett.
yeah, it's just those are my
It's
favorites.
a really short list of your favorite people, I'd say.
Yeah, it's I mean, not a lot of people in that show. That
Yeah.
it's like a two girl show. So
Last piece of news here. Josh Safdie's Marty Supreme will not be a traditional biopic and is instead being envisioned as a fast-paced, globe-trotting adventure comedy in the vein of The Wolf of Wall Street and Catch Me If You Can.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, right.
wait. So the Safdies are gonna make a biopic, but it's gonna be fast paced.
Yeah.
You're telling
Yeah,
tell me
it's
that
like, yeah.
tell me the Safdies movie is gonna be fast paced.
It's like, I mean, globetrotting, that's cool, but like, yeah, it's like I assumed it wasn't gonna be
The
a
Harlem Globetrotters are gonna be in the movie.
Yeah.
It's possible. It's a table tennis movie. There's some connection there. There's
I'll
some
try to use some
Harlem
table
issue.
tennis.
Globe tennis.
What?
What did you say? No, can you repeat that?
Marty Supreme.
Not you.
Marty Supreme's gonna be a table tennis movie. That's
Yeah.
what they're saying.
Yeah, I guess you guys are right. I didn't think about how obvious that was when I wrote it down for the news. I didn't.
Fran Drescher's gonna be in this.
Yes, that is true. Yeah.
Who's that?
You don't know
Form,
Fran
what? We
Drescher?
talked
What do you mean?
we talked about her on the podcast for quite a while during the strikes.
Yeah, she's the lead of the
Well, not
president
anymore.
of the union, or she was when the show
Wait,
was
Yeah.
happening.
she's in the movie?
Yeah.
Yeah,
She's the
'cause she's
nanny.
also
You were much too young to watch or even
that's
know
where I'm
about
like,
the
how do you not know
nanny.
about the
But
nanny? That's where I was
no,
like,
there's
it's
no way.
Fran Drescher,
Owen
bro.
does not know about the nanny. He's just finding out about the nanny right now. Tell us. Do you know about the
No,
nanny?
no, he knows about the nanny.
Yeah.
What do you mean
He
you don't
does
know
not.
about the
I know
nanny?
he doesn't know about it, dude.
What
His
do you
ass does
mean you
not know
don't
about
know
the
about the
nanny, bro. You know
nanny? What do you
the number of things
Well,
that
this
I
shit
have.
came out in 1993.
You
Bro,
watch
you know the
Seinfeld
number
and you
of
don't know about
things
the nanny.
that I have brought up to Owen, being like, "Oh, of course you know this," and then he's like, "I have never heard of that." Like
But the
there's
nanny is like an
something recently
institution.
that
How do you
pissed
not
me
know about
off.
the nanny?
Yeah, no,
What?
I knew he wouldn't know about the fucking nanny, dude. Like, anyway, she's in that, and she's gonna be in this.
Yeah, I mean that's like her whole thing is the nanny.
Yeah, is the nanny. Yeah, we'll wrap up there. Next week, episode 92. We're getting close to 100. We're gonna
Oh,
be
she was in
talking
Jack.
about potentially Conclave, and here maybe we'll catch up on. Who's to say? Not exactly great releases next week, but we'll get back to you on that one. And we'll see you later.